Hey everybody, it's Kathy from Huckleberry Herbs and Art, and I am doing one of those hold it in your arm vlog type things for the video here, just to introduce what I'm doing because I am not staying here long. It has just reached 25 degrees in the middle of a sunny Sunday, March 18th. We are up to March 18th. And in this video, I'm going to show you clips of 4 or 5 weeks ago, what I was doing in February. Alright, so what did I get for the seeds and what have I been doing to get ready for the garden this year? Coming right up. This is just a little share from my Baker Creek order, and I might be doing a little planting here. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because it's a fairly large order, but I thought I would share some of my thinking. I live in zone approximately 5 in the Northeast United States in New Hampshire. And so whatever I say, and if you don't know about the zones, you can look it up, the gardening or agricultural zones for your area on Google. It's easy to find. And then you get a number, okay? And you can figure out what you can plant and what time of the year and what the season is. So anyway, here's some pretty typical basic things. I love to plant peas and I love to eat them fresh right out of the pods. So I have this little marvel. And then I'm doing the Kentucky Wonder pole beans. They have just been great for me, and they produce a good amount. I like to pick them when they're really, really thin. And those are going to go into the garden pretty early because you can start the peas in cold weather. Pretty much the frosts are kind of over. Alright, here's the peppers. I mentioned they're on the top 10 dirtiest foods list because of the pesticides used. And I'm going to grow these pepper canary bells and jalapeno Craig's Grand. These are two of our favorites. For tomatoes, which need to be started soon as well, these Chadwick cherries and these rich sweet flavor tomato dester. I won't be able to say all these names right. Aroma. Now these I want to be able to make sauces and things like that with. And I have no idea why that guy's there. Hang on for a second. So these are the 3 tomatoes that I've decided. Some sort of a beefsteak-like with rich sweet flavor. Aroma for cooking. And these for popping in your salads and doing all kinds of cool things with. Another very typical, you know, every year in the garden, cucumbers, right? And so I've picked these tender green burpless for the salads and everyday cucumber use, and the Boston pickling because I am absolutely fanatical now about fermenting my own pickles, and I've had to buy them as we ran out, and I can't wait to ferment my own again. This is the kale that I talked about in the video with the giveaway that I had back a little while, and these are very high superfoods for you. And I also ordered the dwarf Siberian. I got some more cold weather stuff here with some broccoli. Swiss chard, the rainbow, grows fairly well for me, and again, look at this. Look at the beautiful colors. And I cook these up in a little bit of maybe some butter, maybe some salt, maybe some olive oil, and gently soften them. Chop up some onions. Yeah, really good. And then I got some radicchio. I've never grown radicchio before, and not that these guys are the same, but this is sort of a cabbagey deal, and this is a fancy dancy. I think in Italy, radicchio is something that I think it comes from Italian cooking, at least in the area that I've lived and grown up in. So let me put that watermelon back over here because he kind of fits in here. These guys can be started indoors or outdoors. I will probably give a row cover to give them some protection from all the creatures that would like to eat them. I have a squash table queen, and I have a summer squash Odessa. I have no idea. I've never grown this. And I'm so excited about this Alibaba watermelon, which I did spend some time in the catalog deciding which watermelon I wanted according to taste, according to growth habits, and what people were saying grew the best. And yes, when you go on to Baker Creek website, you can check those favorites, etc. out. So the beets that I discussed I was going to be using for dyes, these radishes, radish de 18 jours, 18 days, right? They got to get in the ground now. It's early March, and I can see the dirt, and I've had plastic laying over. So, time to put the radishes in. These need to be planted now as well, but they'll be started indoors. And so these might be the two things you see me putting, because this is kind of, it's already on a rush. You know, you want to get the onions started right away and then head outdoors early with those. Lettuce. The darker and more colorful your food, especially as far as greens go, the more healthy for you. So I have lettuce garnet rose. Just love those red leafed lettuces. I'm not going to say this correctly. Forellen Schluss. Schluss? Forellenchus. Forellenchus, I hope. Okay, so it's gorgeous. It's got all kinds of little speckles of red and stuff, and it's a beautiful lettuce. I see it in the store and buy it when it's there. Rouge d'Iver. How's that? Wow, that took me 20 times. So this lovely red-leafed lettuce as well. So I'm very excited about that. I have these beautiful-looking cosmic purple carrots. And I'm excited to do this, but I don't buy too many root crops, and I have to be careful what I do with them. I have to sort of handle them with care because, well, bowls. What can I say? They're out to get me. All right, as far as flowers go, I love planting zinnias, so these beautiful pink and purple ones. The illumination for the pink and the purple prince, which I grow just about every year. And these are old-fashioned, you know, once you get them started in the garden, they just take off, and you have these beautiful popped-up colors, and they're great for cutting, and you can come back and cut again. And then morning glories. I know those people in the south are saying, no, not morning glories, because they, yeah, can kind of, but here in the winter, they just die. We don't have morning glories coming back at the end of, or at the beginning of the spring season in this area. I'll tell you, you have to plant them. And these are the, you know, a typical example of, I always put these in a little bowl of water overnight so that they crack open in the water, and then I plant them the next day. And they are just such a beautiful heavenly blue, Clark's heavenly blue, such a gorgeous blue. Blue is the most desired, hardest to get color in the garden. And if you can get these started, they will take off and just cover a fence for you, and you could get up in the morning with your cup of tea or coffee, and wow, the sky is in your garden. Beautiful. Really easy to grow. You just throw them. These are very field-like flowers, the Cosmos, and this is the Sensation mix. So I think if it's a mix, I'm going to get a few different colors, usually pinks and whites. A lavenderish sort of color will come out of these. And I don't usually do this because these are typical stop off at the garden store. I'm not going to eat them, and I just want them to fluff up the borders and things like that, snapdragons. But I figured I'll buy a pack and see where it goes. And these are the two sunflowers I picked out. Isn't this autumn beauty? I love having an orangey reddish, and some of them, there's a deep velvet one that I did not see in their store, but I might still pick it up. The thing is, everybody loves the sunflower, so the Diorcom, the big gopher type, they just, yeah, there you go. It's gone. I hope that wasn't too loud, but they just pop their heads off and eat them, and then the birds are plucking at them, and everybody's happy with the sunflowers. And at the end of the season, at least I have a few of them standing for myself to enjoy in the fall, and they just snap the color into the garden at the end of the year. And then finally, some herbs. So I've decided to put a little bee balm, lemon bee herb, bee balm lemon. And these are really, they actually do really attract bees. And you'll want the bees, so they'll pollinate all your stuff, and you can have fruits and vegetables and beautiful flowers, seed pods. And here's the chamomile that I mentioned. This is, what do they call it? Zloty Land. Zloty Land. So, yeah, I'm going to start those indoors too. They really like to start in warmth but not burning sun, like a nice little cozy comfy place. and then some basil, which is not too difficult to get started, and dill. Need lots of dill to go in with my pickles. As soon as I put my order for my seeds, I was outside because it was 70 degrees in the middle of February. And I had decided that I was going to lay down plastic and warm up the ground so that I could get those 18-day radishes in right away. So I put the plastic down and put some rocks along the edges, and I was so pleased with myself. And then this happened. Yeah, so here's a daytime shot the next morning. And this didn't happen just once. It happened 3 times in a row that the Northeast was hit with major blizzards in the middle of what was seemingly going to be an early spring. So my plans were slightly foiled, and I was back inside using potting soil. I keep the plastic containers each year, and I have a good stock of them. And I start a lot of things inside by just keeping my soil mix in a bucket, and then I use a little pot so I can scoop it out and not be lifting it over and making a mess. And especially if I'm going to do indoors in the kitchen kind of planting, which I just wanted to get some of those onions in there and get them started so that I could have plenty of them to plant in early spring outside. So once I got the dirt in and I had it pretty even, I came back with sphagnum moss, or something like sphagnum moss, which I crush and cover slightly over the edge of the seeds. You don't have to plant the seeds deeply, and the sphagnum moss, that keeps the fungus that causes the plant tipping over. A lot of people have trouble with this. I always have, that the plants develop a little bit of fungus right at the base near the dirt, and then they will just tip over and die right when they look like, oh great, my seeds are up, this is wonderful, I'm so excited, and you come back the next day and they're all dead. So it helps a little to put the moss across the top and deters the fungus. And then once I had gotten the fungus on, into the light rack my 2 racks of onions went, and I'm very pleased with myself to have finally managed to get something into the dirt. Looking forward to this year's spring planting. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for stopping and hanging while I went through my whole entire seed haul. You don't see too many of those on YouTube, I guess. Till next time, I'll be back with more gardening and other types of arts. This is Kathy from Huckleberry Herbs and Art. God bless.